Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It is Hart DFS. For those of you that are new, my name is Hart. I make daily NBA slate breakdowns on DraftKings, as well as NBA prize pick videos, so a lot of good content for you guys to enjoy. Make sure to follow me on Twitter as well, Hart DFS. Answer any questions you guys have, talking DFS, putting up my core plays for DFS, prize pick plays, learning you about guys getting ruled out, stuff like that. So let's get into yesterday's results. And as we can see, another day of cashing. I did a little $5 single entry, and I was able to, 2 times my money. Obviously, $10 is really nothing, but it's just about how, we put the analysis of the games together, building a lineup around that, and then seeing it perform. Obviously, it was a horrendous game. As you can see, I retweeted, if you guys follow DFS by Noah, it's one of the worst playoffs we've seen in a while. And also, I know he retweeted another thing that was nice to see. Yeah, right here. Margin of victory, the last 17 playoff games. Look at this, guys. 29, 6, 9, 25, 25, 11, 33, 28, 13, 14, 27, 9, 3, 39, 30, 35. Average margin of victory, it's almost been 20 points. 20 points in these playoffs. These playoffs have been pretty bad when it comes to blowouts. And that really affects DFS, and especially prize picks. It makes it hard to take the overs on guys when games are just blowing out. And obviously, you don't want to, play unders to, hope for a blowout. That's not the case. It's not what you want to do. But back on the DFS terms, talked about in my video yesterday that I really liked. I was torn between Marcus Smart and Jason Tatum as captain. Obviously, Marcus Smart got ruled out. I alerted you guys on my Twitter about that. I told you guys to go with, if we pull it up here real fast once again, I said Smart is out. I don't mind, or that's for prize picks. But I said Smart got ruled out. White and Pritchard both for me to play now. I prefer Pritchard, but White's minutes are more secure. They both had great games. Obviously, I think Pritchard got 26 fantasy points. White had 38 or 39. So they're both really solid plays. So definitely make sure to follow me on Twitter. I put up news like that, where I retweet the news and just kind of put pivot plays off of the news. So that should have helped you guys out. But I talked about in my video how I really expected Tatum to have a bounce back game. He did. Was torn between him and Smart as captain. Obviously, Smart got ruled out, so I went with Tatum. So that should have gave you guys a leg up on everyone else because Tatum was the most optimal captain. So I went with Jason Tatum, 77 fantasy points, 31, 8, 5, and 2. Pretty close to his numbers from that Bucks series when he had the bad game. And the next game he did really well. So really like to see that in Tatum. Jimmy in the Heat, I think they were 1-16 with like 3 minutes left in the first quarter. I think they had 4 points. It was like 25-4. It was disgusting. I watched, the final 5 minutes of the first quarter and the final 3 minutes of the second quarter and turned off the game. Didn't watch the rest. It's not worth it. There was no point. Kyle Lowry, obviously everyone on the Heat side was disappointing. Even Jaylen Brown on the Boston side was really disappointing as well. But Robert Williams, Pritchard, and then Victor Oladipo, that was my lineup. I also mentioned in my video how I really liked Oladipo. He was semi-popular. Would have expected him to be a lot more popular. He did very well. So I really like to see that. Cashed really easily, so I hope you guys cash as well. That's the biggest thing about these analysis videos that I hope happens is you guys cashing. And shout out to Aaron. He hadn't won in a while. He got a first, second, third, and fourth place finish last night, all cash. 3 lines with Tatum as captain. He also did one with Bam, and he still cashed. So congrats to you, Aaron. I love seeing that. That's why I do these videos, is to help you guys out and hopefully help me out when it comes to just getting better at DFS and cashing. So congrats, man. That's huge. Love to see you back on the winning train. So if anyone else has been winning, don't be afraid to comment or just slide me a DM on Twitter. Saying, I won, because let's celebrate it. It's huge. Let's go. Back on the winning train. So shout out to you, Aaron. That is huge. So here is my lineup from yesterday. The winning lineup was Tatum, Brown, Horford, Williams, White, and Oladipo. Now, I originally had White in my lineup right here before Pritchard, but it came down to those things. I was like, Pritchard's a better shooter. White is usually either he's going to have a really good game or he's going to have a really bad game. So I kind of got off of White right at the last second to Pritchard. It wasn't a terrible decision. He still put up 26. But this is what I like doing. If it's one of those where like I'm very torn on 1 or 2 players, I'll do my main lineup and then I'll just throw my secondary lineup of the plays I wanted to do in like a 25 cent, a 50 cent, little tournament, just in case like it does end up going off, then you can still win some good money. So that's what I did. I switched out White with Martin, went on Jaylen Brown. So pretty close to the, winning lineup. The side, Caleb Martin actually did well. So, I probably would have needed Horford in there. That would have helped out in White. But yeah, so I recommend, if you guys kind of are split between 2 lineups, to just go with your main one in the main contest, whatever contest that is for you guys, and then throw the secondary one in like a 50 cent, 25 cent on dollar contest, nothing too huge money wise. And then if it goes off, then perfect. If not, you really don't lose much money at all. So that is kind of my lineup review from yesterday. Going into today's game, the Mavs versus the Warriors. Game 4, Warriors are up 3-0. This is my lineup from the last game. Obviously, Clay did kind of classic Clay. Luka did great. Poole was disappointing. Dinwiddie did great. Porter Jr., horrible, got injured. And then Kleber just drag it. Tragic. But the winning lineup from the last game between them was Luka, Steph, Wiggins, Dinwiddie, Bertans, and Moody. So with that in mind, let's get into today's breakdown. I know there was a lot before the breakdown. Sorry, guys. If you want to skip, I'll pin my comment below if you want to skip the beginning. But we got today's breakdown. I think it's a 2-point favorite for the Mavs right now, which is pretty interesting because the Warriors have pretty much been dominating them the whole series, especially in the third quarter. The third quarter, the Warriors are just destroying people, during the regular season and now in the playoffs. But let's get into it. Luka, 14-4. It's the same thing as I mentioned the whole time. Either you're going to want to ride with him as the chalky captain, or you're going to at least want him in the utility spot just because he's the whole team. Everything goes through him. If they win, it's because of him. If they lose, it's still him, putting up a big game. So I do think you still need him in the utility spot. So we'll just throw him in there for now. Steph, you pretty much have been needing him as well in the utility spot, if not captain. I mean, he's been doing great these playoffs. He's back to normal stuff. So really like getting into him as well. It's going to be hard to get both of them in there. I know a lot of people are going the chalky route of putting either one of them as captain, another one of them as utility, and then it doesn't really leave you a ton of room to get some big people in there. And since Otto Porter Jr. is, he was doubtful, now he's questionable. So if he plays, it definitely takes guys like Moody out. But people are kind of flocking to Moody as right now. He played 16 minutes, didn't do anything. I don't expect him to do anything. Even if he had 25 minutes, he's just out there to kind of give a breather to those other guys. Maybe we'll shoot, 2 threes, maybe get a layup, maybe get like 2 rebounds. I don't think it's worth it. But as we saw last slate, throwing Luke in the captain spot and getting 10 people or 10 fantasy points by the bottom 2 guys combined, still won the guy at the tournament. I don't think that's going to happen today. I do expect the other people to step up, but that's just a route you can go. But back to the breakdown. So really like Steph. Clay is just more contrarian, as I always say. He will break the slate if he goes off when it comes to scoring the ball. He's done great peripheral stat-wise, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 and 5, 5 and 4, 8 and 2. It just comes down to shooting the ball. Hasn't shot the ball great all series. I mean, 6 to 10, 60%, and you're like, oh, that's great, but it's just like, it's not the normal Clay you expect. 7, 13, 53%, 15 points, 15 points. We really haven't seen a ceiling game besides that Memphis game, but before that, hasn't really come close scoring the ball until that Denver series. So it's just one of those where it's a contrarian play. If you get to Clay, you really, really hope he has a very high scoring game. Otherwise, I think it's easily worth fading. He's going to be super low owned just because of how expensive he is, 9,200. He's no reason to be that expensive with what he's been doing game-wise. So a lot of people are not going to play him. Definitely a sneaky captain for today. I put him as a captain last time. Didn't work out. But, I don't mind going back to it today. I expect the Mavs to maybe hit a few more shots this game. Hopefully, that'd be great. Otherwise, it's going to be a clean sweep by the Warriors. Brunson, second-hand man to Luka. Done great this series. Really like him. It's just 9K is now pretty expensive for the second guy on the Mavs side. Has room to get you, mid 40s, even close to 50 fantasy points. It's just, I don't know. 9K is just very expensive as a utility player for Brunson. If you want to go there, you can. I don't mind it. But Andrew Wiggins, been fantastic. I said it from the beginning of the series going into game 1. They're going to probably utilize him more just because he's a mismatch. He's going to step up. And what has he done? 34, 47. He's been fantastic. 19, 5 and 3, 16, 5 and 5, 27, 11, 3. So I've been very high on him. I think I played him once. I should probably listen to myself more, but don't mind going back to Andrew Wiggins. They really can't stop him. He shot the 3 5+ times every game, which you do like to see. Hasn't shot it well, but he's been very aggressive. He's mirroring Luka's minutes. So whenever Luka's in, Wiggins is in, so that it's pretty much guaranteeing Wiggins almost 40 minutes, 35, 38, 40. Shooting the ball a ton, 17, 14, 20. Been great on the offensive boards, the glass, driving the ball. So I really like going back to Andrew Wiggins. I think he's really found himself in this series, so really like him at 8,200. A lot more consistent when it comes to Brunson. Obviously, I think Brunson has more of an upside than Wiggins. Wiggins kind of benefited from that double-double, but really like Andrew Wiggins. Draymond Green is going to be a guy who's going to go under-owned just because he's not too, offensive scoring minded. It's usually just him coming in with the peripheral stats. Do expect him to see, close to 40 minutes. It just depends on if he gets in foul trouble. There's always that risk of him getting thrown out. He's been chirping the refs the whole series. He's just super annoying when it comes to that. It just pisses me off. But he does have some upside, as you can see. During that game, the last game versus Memphis, 14, 15, and 8, 46 fantasy points. So he's a guy who can definitely get you there. I don't mind him as a sneaky captain play, but just expect pain if you do that. Just expect massive pain. Jordan Poole, don't mind going back to him as captain as well. It's been kind of down this series in terms of fantasy points, 28, 35, and then 21. Only shot the ball 4 times, only got 10 points. But he's a guy who's going to come off the bench and he can have a huge game. Hasn't done well. It's kind of been Steph, but I don't mind taking a shot on those secondary guys like Poole or Clay or Wiggins as captain on the Warriors side. Looney, if you guys want to go back to Looney, I don't mind it. He kind of got helped by Otto Porter Jr. getting injured. He got some more minutes from that. He's done very well. 9 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, steal. So if you want to go back to him, I don't mind it. He's done great in this series. I think 7K is just a little too expensive for him. He's kind of throwing up, he's on a career stretch right now in these playoffs. So 7K, I think it's just too expensive. But if you want to go there, I don't mind it. He's done well. If you want to ride into the hot hand, you can. Dinwiddie is just kind of a dart throw. Worked out last game, 26 points. But as you can see, doing nothing peripheral stat-wise. So if he's not hitting his shots, he's really going to tank you at 6,800. But they're going to really need him to step up. Maybe he found something last game. The only one who could really shoot the ball. So I don't mind getting him at 6,800. It's just tough because there's a huge drop-off between like Luka. Brunson's kind of a little bit behind him. But then besides those two, it's just a huge drop-off on this Mavericks side with how bad these people have been. So it's really tough to get to any of them. I really like just stacking all the Warriors as much as you can. DFS, playing the minutes is just, he's not shooting the ball a ton. 4, 4, 6, 6, 7. Not as normal. He was usually getting to close to 10, if not more. Just not shooting the ball a ton, not shooting it well. If he was, he'd be fantasy relevant. So I don't mind taking a shot on him. It's just based on the past 6 games, he has been doing much. He can get you those peripheral stats, rebounds, assists, maybe a steal or a block. It just comes down to the points. Hasn't been aggressive offensively. So more of like a secondary play, dart throw. Same thing with Bullock. We'll get you rebounds, assists, maybe a steal or block. There's foul trouble risk with him. But as you can see, he's playing the minutes. 0 of 10 last game. Horrendous. 15 fantasy points. So I think I'd prefer him over both. DFS been a little bit more consistent and he's cheaper. So don't mind going that route. Kleber, I think I'm going to run it back with him. He's been terrible this series. 1 of 4, 1 of 5, 0 of 5. He's still getting the rebounds, still getting the assists. He can still get you blocks and the steal. So 4,200, I think he's decent value for today. Just hope he really hits his threes and shots. Otherwise, he's just not going to do much out there. Porter Jr. is questionable. Did have that foot injury, so we'll have to see if he plays. If he does, I do expect him to have that normal 23-ish, 24 minutes. They kind of limit him just because of how injury prone he is. So I don't think he'd get close to 30 at all. Maybe max 26, as you can see. So he'd probably float around those normal 20 to 24 minutes. Looks like a good value play at 4K, but we'll have to see if he plays, and then if he's restricted on minutes. If he's in, it definitely takes out guys like Moody, who will probably come in and see maybe 10 minutes. Even if Otto Porter Jr. is out, people are going to flock to Moody as like 1K value. I don't think he'd do it. Unless you're putting Luka or Steph at captain and, trying to fit in as many high-owned guys or high-salary guys as you can. I really don't think you have to. There really is no path to Moody scoring well or doing well unless he comes out and has like goes like 4-4 from 3. But otherwise, I just don't see him doing well at 1K. But I mean, it's always worth a mention. Same thing with Frank. He's been playing a couple minutes. Don't see him getting there. Who else has been playing? Powell. Just been terrible. Maybe he plays 20 minutes if he's doing really well. Otherwise, he's probably going to play like around 10. And then Bertans, floating between either 14 minutes or 7. Don't think he to do it. So yeah, that kind of does the breakdown. I mean, obviously nothing's changed since the first game. It's just the Mavs can't shoot, and Andrew Wiggins has been very great for the Warriors, especially along with Steph. And so going into game 4, it's like, what are the Mavs going to do to try to win this game and get back in the series? I'm not really sure. Their offense is it's pretty much all isolation. So it's like, if you're not hitting your shot, what are you going to do? You have nothing to fall back on. Their defense hasn't been good at all. How are you going to stop Steph, Clay, Andrew Wiggins now, Poole? There's just too many people to stop. They're not hitting their shots. So I don't think they're going to win. I think it's going to be a 4-0 clean sweep. But let's get into the lineup build. I do think if you're not going to put Luka at captain, you do need him in the utility spot. As I mentioned, I really like going to Poole as captain just because he's super cheap and he has that massive upside. He hasn't flashed it yet, but it still allows you to get other guys in there. It's very tough fading Steph. Don't like doing it, but it's just 11-6. If you do that, then you're just stuck playing those, very cheap guys. And if, they don't perform, then you're kind of screwed. I think I'm going to do 2 lines today, guys. I think I'm going to go between Poole as captain and Clay. I really think Clay is going to have a huge game one of these games. Hopefully it's today. That'd be huge because he's going to be super low owned. But I really like going between Poole and Clay as captains. Also don't mind Wiggins if you want to go that route. But I'm going to put Wiggins in my utility spot. And then I think I'm going to get down to Kleber as of right now. We'll have to wait on the Otto Porter Jr. news. So I'd say just reserve your guys' spots in these tournaments, and then we'll kind of go from there. So as of right now, this is kind of what I like. Poole, Luka, Wiggins, and Kleber. We'll have to wait on the Otto Porter news. Once we get that, we can kind of make some official picks. So make sure to follow me on Twitter, HeartDFS. I'll put up my official core plays for the day once we get the Otto Porter Jr. news. So that won't be probably till maybe an hour before the game, maybe 30 minutes. So just definitely reserve your guys' lineups. But yeah, as of right now, really thinking that obviously you can go that chalky route of putting Steph or Luka in the captain spot. It's worked out. I think 2 of the games. The other games, Looney in the captain spot has worked out. So don't be afraid to throw a guy like Draymond or even Wiggins in the captain spot because they both have upside. It's just, Wiggins has flashed it this series. Draymond hasn't. So if you want to get risky, you can definitely go those secondary guys, as I always mention. But I think I'm going to go with either Poole or Clay just for the lower ownership, at least for Clay's sake, and then kind of build off of that. Do think you need Luka. So I think Luka and Wiggins, you do need them. I think you need to lock both of them in today. And I do think you need some cheap value. If Otto Porter Jr. doesn't play, I think Kleber's going to be your man. He hasn't performed well at all. but I do expect him to step up today. So this is kind of the route I'm thinking of going with today. So if you do like the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Do appreciate you guys' support. Thank you guys for 500 subscribers again. Really appreciate you guys' support. You guys are loving these videos, so if we get 20 likes in this video, that'd be huge. Really just like breaking these down for you guys and just seeing you guys win. It's huge. That's why I do these videos, is to see you guys win. And it's great when I see you guys comment saying, hey, you helped me out. Hey, I won. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.